Morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is J.R. Moore coming to you live from deep in the mountains of the Missouri Ozarks. On Tuesday, the 19th day of December, the year of our Lord 2017, welcome to the John Moore Show. Here's your prep tip of the day. It's been quite a while since I mentioned this, maybe a year or more. And this applies to each and every one of you. And here it is. Get your dental work all caught up. Seriously, get your dental work all caught up. Most normal human beings, most of the time, do not want to set foot in a dental office. That's expected, on one hand. On the other, do you really want to go through a long-term crisis with dental issues? Seriously, do you? No, I don't think so. So, proper tip of the day, bite the bullet, so to speak. Make that appointment with your dentist. Find out everything that needs to be taken care of. And then take care of all of it. Seriously. Get it done. That's your prepper tip of the day. You'll be very glad you did it. Once it's finished, you'll be very glad you did it. We will have open lines this first hour. The call number is 800-313-9443. The second hour, we hope that Leon Green will show up as he does most Tuesday mornings. I had the opportunity this morning to watch a 37-minute YouTube video about the Bosnian pyramids. I would love to visit them personally. I met three people when I was in the Czech Republic, three Canadian citizens who had just been at the Bosnian pyramids just a couple of days before they arrived in Prague, Czech Republic. I've been aware of the Bosnian pyramids now for a number of years, about 5 or 6 years or so. Not long after it was revealed publicly that these are man-made structures and not really big hills. It's a fascinating story. And of course, Bosnia is in Central Europe, and it's an area that has been settled by Europeans for many centuries, going back to Roman times. And at no time in the last 2,000 years did anybody believe these pyramids were anything other than natural formations. I'm not sure exactly how it was determined that they were probably man-made structures, but when you're up above them a couple thousand feet, it becomes real clear that there's a very defined pyramid shape to these structures. The largest of which is several times larger than the Great Pyramid at Giza. There are tunnels going through these pyramids, all interconnecting, by the way. Inside the tunnels are rocks held together with clay that apparently, in the manner in which they're built, there's a energy emanating from these rocks because of the pressure they're under. It's fascinating. The scientists that have been going there, scientists and engineers, they have been measuring the scalar waves coming from the pyramids, especially from the top going straight up. And the people who travel there have found that whatever illness they have, I saw a lengthy interview with a gentleman who used to have past tense Parkinson's, who no longer has Parkinson's. The only thing he did different from his normal life was spend time in the pyramid, in the tunnels. His friend sitting next to him had issues with pain in his left leg between the knee and his ankle, and sitting on what they call the K2 rock inside the pyramid there. After 5 minutes, the pain in his left leg was gone. People are reporting all kinds of healings from spending time inside these pyramids, and of course there's scientific evidence to demonstrate what's going on in the form of Kirlian photography, for example. Kirlian photography is a Russian photographic technique developed in the 1930s. Prior to that, being able to see in that light spectrum was something that maybe 1 in 100,000 human beings could do. There's artistic representations of that ability going back to the Middle Ages, where you'll see images of saints and Jesus and so forth with a golden glow around them. That's a artistic representation of the aura that people have. Well, Carillion photography can photograph the aura around people, the electromagnetic field around human beings, not just human beings, of course, any living thing. It could be a tomato plant, a puppy dog, or a human being. It doesn't matter. All living things have a electromagnetic field that the Carillion photography can photograph. So this technique is being used in Bosnia as well. It's an expensive camera, by the way. I don't recall how many thousands of dollars, but many thousands of dollars one of these cameras costs. So they're using the Carillion photography to help understand what's going on inside the Pyramid of the Sun is the largest one. The same technique was used to develop the energy cleaner, by the way, Carillion photography. Now here's the way this works. When you photograph a person, the healthy parts of the person will have bright colors and be a solid aura around the healthy parts of the person. But if they have, say, for example, an injured elbow, there'll be either darker colors where the injured elbow is, or a breakdown in the aura at that point, or both. And that's what I've observed in my review of Carillion photography. With the energy cleaner, they found that the energy cleaner restored the aura to the complete body, including the injured elbow, just using an injured elbow as an example. Fascinating stuff. And then why they used Carillion photography was to get just the right signal, electrostatic signal. There was experimentation taking place with different types of signals, and when they got just the right one, it restored the aura of the human being to complete and healthy, bright colors all around the human being. The Bosnian pyramids, the mainstream archaeology is still denying that these are anything other than really big natural hills, despite the fact that they've now dug down to the concrete core. These things have been there so long that there's been an accumulation of 10 to 12 feet of dirt and trees all over these things. I'm not sure there's any determination of the age of these structures. The Pyramid of the Sun, as it's called, is up until about 10 or 12 years ago, was the tallest man-made structure on the planet. And then they built that hotel in Dubai, which is now the tallest man-made structure on the planet. That's how tall this thing is. More than 1,000 feet. The people in Europe, all these centuries, at least 2,000 plus years, always thought that this was just a really big hill. That's what they thought. We've got a caller on hold here. We've got Dan in Hawaii. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning, John. Yeah, remembering the dates on these, as far as I know, the newest dates now are on the Bosnian pyramid, and that's coming in at about 39,000 years.
Breathtaking, isn't it?
It's breathtaking. This is a new date that came out, maybe 3 or 4 months ago from the scientist that's in charge of that. I thought that was very, very interesting.
Yeah, the video I saw was done in August, and most of that material was tape recorded in July and edited the first couple of weeks of August. So, it's difficult unless it's difficult to date something unless you find inscriptions or objects or organic material that can be dated. The rock, obviously you can't date rock, but go ahead.
And of course, modern humans coming out of Africa, probably through Yemen or the Gaza exit, that was about 65,000 years ago. So we go way back.
Well, it's difficult to conceive of our ancestors building a structure that up until 10 years ago was the tallest structure on the planet.
My thoughts are always, when there's a will, there's a way.
There you go.
I wanted to ask you, my main reason for calling in is I'm not hearing much about these fires in California. Can I get your read on what's going on there? I'm not hearing much in the news.
Well, I'm not seeing anything that you're not seeing either there, Dan. And I try to live in the world of evidence as a world of speculation. There's lots of speculation about how the fire started. It's an area, it's semi-arid desert to begin with under normal conditions, but it's no longer normal. It's a lot drier than the already normally dry state. Of course, the winds, once the fires start, the winds make them far worse. One story I read was that they believed a cook fire started by homeless people had started one of the many fires.
Yeah.
But then you get into wild speculation about who's behind starting fires, whether they were started intentionally, their acts of terrorism. Lots of evidence lacking in all those theories, and I try to stay in the world of real evidence-based information as opposed to speculation there, Dan.
Yes, and I'm actually interested in current spread rate. That's my main interest now. How far has it actually spread? Do you have any information on that?
Nothing new. That should be pretty easily found, though, I would think.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, John.
Dan, thank you for the call. We appreciate it. The call number is 800-313-9443. Yeah. Well, getting back to the Bosnian pyramids, something I've mentioned to the folks I met from Canada. If a human-built structure that size can be in Central Europe with people coming and going, educated people, the Romans had engineers and ability to do complex mathematical calculations, fabricate concrete. They had a form of concrete that's still better than anything we can come up with, and so forth. The Romans were sophisticated, educated people, and ever since then, for 2,000 years, if something like that can be in Central Europe with people coming and going around it, not knowing this was a man-made structure, my point is, what's to be found in the more remote parts of the world, such as the Amazon jungle. Not a rainforest, by the way, it's a jungle. Parts of Africa, parts of Southeast Asia, and so forth, where they are very remote, very difficult to get to. What is there to be found in those areas? And my friend Professor McCanny, who's an amateur archaeologist, he says that 95% of what there is to be found by archaeologists is yet to be found. And the more I learn, the more I tend to agree with Professor McCanny. I was just thinking that this morning, walking between a couple of our buildings, I had a random thought about how there may be a way to do a computer-generated search of topographical maps to look for specific shapes. Pyramid shape is certainly at the top of the list. The pyramid is one ubiquitous structure that we find on all the continents. Is a pyramid-shaped structures, man-made structures. So certainly we should be searching for those. And I'm no computer geek by any stretch, but I would believe that the state of the art would allow computers to search topographical maps to find these types of structures. It would seem like a doable situation. Google Earth is another platform that might be searched in that manner. I know Google Earth does in fact block out things that they don't want you to see, such as just off the coast of Georgia and South Carolina. There's big areas blocked out in the ocean. Hundreds, maybe possibly more likely thousands of square miles of the Antarctic are blocked out by Google Earth. That's a big heads up, isn't it? Who are they blocking it from? Well, the Russian satellite imaging can certainly see what's blocked out. Chinese satellite imaging can certainly see what's blocked out. So who they're preventing from seeing it? Well, that's you and me. Certainly not. If it was a matter of national security, it wouldn't matter what they try to block out, because I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that the Russian intelligence services and the Chinese intelligence services don't rely on Google Earth to do anything of any consequence. They have their own satellites. They don't need Google Earth. So they're on the clearly, obviously, the Russian intelligence services, the Chinese intelligence services are aware, if they choose to be, of whatever's being blocked out by Google Earth. Makes you wonder, don't it? Makes you wonder. Now, there's people, employees at Google Earth, that I'm sure at some level, and there's probably undoubtedly compartmentalization taking place at Google headquarters and the Google Earth people. But without a doubt, there's people within that chain of command and have access to the images being blocked by Google Earth in the Antarctic, off the coast of South Carolina and Georgia, and many other places. Here's our break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. It's taken 3 years before I could offer the inter-shelter domes for sale. During those 3 years, several different governments and militaries were taking all their production. The inter-shelter dome homes may be just what you've been looking for to provide affordable, energy-efficient, permanent, and attractive housing. These dome homes are prefabricated units that can be assembled in a few hours by 2 men with a ladder and simple hand tools. Check out the photos of these dome homes built in the Arctic, on tropical beaches, in suburban areas, and in forests. All the details, many photographs, and the pricing of the dome homes are listed on the left-hand side of my homepage at thelibertyman.com. I think you'll find these homes are not only attractive, but they're energy efficient, and a bonus. You can disassemble them and reassemble them as many times as you feel you need to. Pretty great, huh? Something that's very, very unique. Check them out at my website at theliberty. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 19th of December. Yes, the Bosnian pyramids, Rally of the Pyramids in Bosnia. The gentleman, he's sometimes referred to as a real-life Raiders of the Lost Ark. He looks like quite a character, to say the least. And in fact, he wears a hat very similar to the Raiders of the Lost Ark character in the films. But that aside, this is phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. How long does it take for 10 to 12 feet of rock and dirt to build up How many centuries? Many, many centuries. Many thousands of years. The more I learn about the Bosnian pyramids, the more I really want to visit there. Knowing what I know now, I probably could have and should have made an arrangement to travel there when I was in Prague this past summer. It didn't happen, obviously. But we all have 20/20 hindsight. The YouTube video showed volunteers from all over the world. They're out there sweating and digging and moving rock and dirt by hand as a excavation. I think this summer was only the 5th or 6th summer of excavation taking place there. So this is really new. It really is very new. And I don't know what it's going to take for mainstream archaeology to admit that, yes, this is, in fact, one of the second tallest man-made structure on the planet, a human-built pyramid. At some point, they'll have no choice, of course. But they're dug in. They got their feet dug in. They're not going to give up their belief this is just a natural hill. They're not going to do that voluntarily. They'll have to have their nose stuck in it, and rubbed around a little bit before they do finally admit the error of their ways. What does it mean for the rest of us? Well, the video talks about communication and how scalar technology allows you to communicate faster than the speed of light. Incredibly. They use a number, I believe, more than 1,000 times faster than the speed of light, which means instantaneous communication with any place. Now that just boggles the mind. And they also mentioned their belief that the communication was two ways between the pyramid in Bosnia and wherever else they were communicating with. They mentioned a direct energetic connection with our sun and the Bosnian pyramid. Now this is not esoteric Eastern philosophy. These are scientists using scientific instruments to measure the frequencies, the energy, and so forth. So it's not a matter of speculation. It's not a matter of people sitting around in a circle contemplating their belly button. No, these are scientists and engineers using their scientific instrumentation to do these measurements of what's going on there. I'm just absolutely fascinated by it. I don't know about you folks, but I'm absolutely fascinated by it. They did mention an alignment with certain stars, by the way, with these pyramids, which seems to be ubiquitous with pyramid structures, that there's an alignment with certain stars in our out there. I started to say in our solar system, but obviously there's no stars except our sun in the solar system. But it is fascinating to me. Brings up a multitude of questions. Who built these pyramids? When were they built? Why were they built? What's the nature of the healing properties of these pyramids? The healing seems to be ubiquitous also. Apparently, everybody who has health-related issues gets some relief by spending time inside the tunnels of these pyramids. Now, the mainstream scientists, our archaeologists, are saying that the tunnels were made in historic times, which there may have been some tunnels dug in historic times. One does not preclude the other. Tunnels being built at the same time of the pyramids being built is certainly a possibility, and tunnels being built in more recent times, in the last 2,000 years, certainly a possibility as well. Here's our break. Phone number is 800-313-9443.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We're continuing our Energy Cleaner promotion, which began August of 2016. In this promotion, you get to buy an Energy Cleaner, $70 off retail, and a mattress pad, 10% off retail. $200 of the purchase price of the Energy Cleaner goes to Republic Broadcasting. This is a great way to help get energy cleaners out to people who need them and have some financial issues to deal with. And, of course, a great way to support Republic Broadcasting. Here's what you do. Send in a postcard. My address is John Moore, P.O. Box 201, Davidsville, Missouri. We pick a postcard every 2 weeks. If your postcard is drawn, you get the chance to buy the Energy Cleaner, $70 off retail, and 10% off the mattress pads. Put your name and your address, your telephone number, and your email address on the postcard, and we wish you the best of luck. Thank you. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 19th of December. My website is thelibertyman.com. That's thelibertyman.com. There's lots there. You can spend a lot of time at my website. Educating yourself, informing yourself, entertaining yourself. There's a lot there. I want to point out just for a little bit here, on the right side of my homepage, just to the right of me, in my Tiger Stripe fatigues, field training exercise, USS Liberty, December 31st, 2018. It's right at 1 year away. 12 months. 12 months, almost to the day. People have been bugging me for years. John, when's it going to happen? What's it? Planet X causing problems, World War III, economic collapse, EMP attack, terrorist attacks. Well, I list 5 different possibilities there. You pick out your own scenario, and then you have a date to get ready by. 12 months will pass really quickly. In case you're not aware of it, I'm here to tell you, 12 months will pass very quickly. So you got 12 months to get ready for whatever scenario you choose. It could be 1 or 2 or all 5. And then proceed to get ready. You can figure this out. You're very smart people. Something that will help you get ready, help you have more energy, less pain, of course, is the Energy Cleaner. Seriously. I use mine every night. I'm 70 years old. I'm very active around the ranch here. I ride a 750-pound Kawasaki Nomad motorcycle. That's an athletic event, in case you don't know it. Off and on the Kubota tractor, moving boulders. A 900-pound rock is definitely a boulder. Big logs, using the chainsaw, and so forth. Go to bed with minor aches and pains. Wake up pain-free with lots of energy. You can also with your Energy Cleaner. Only $285 shipping included to American zip codes. The Energy Cleaner 18 years ago was $3,000 each, by the way. Seriously, they were. $3,000 a piece. Only $285 for the improved modern version of the Energy Cleaner. The mattress pads vary in price depending on what you pick out and want to purchase. This is my home business. When you make your purchase, I'm the guy that boxes up the Energy Cleaner. I'm the guy that boxes up the mattress pad. I take them to the little country post office in Cherryville, Missouri, where you can get a cup of coffee, all you can drink for 75 cents. They don't know what cappuccino is. They don't know what a latte is. Don't ask. They don't know, don't care. And I don't either. You get a choice of cream or sugar. That's it. I take MasterCard, Visa, PayPal. PayPal's great. They now take payments. If you live in the U.S., PayPal will let you spread out that dollar amount over several months. You want to send me a check? Send me a check. My address is at my website at thelibertyman.com. Don't forget, I got a 30-day money-back guarantee. We're going to expand that hopefully by the first year, to 90 days. A 30-day money-back guarantee on the energy cleaner, so you're risking nothing when you get your energy cleaner. Plus a toll-free order line 24 hours a day. Here it is, 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. I want to expand this discussion on the Bosnian pyramids into archaeology in general, which I've always been fascinated by. I never had any desire to become an archaeologist that I can think of, but I've always had a great interest in archaeology. I've come to realize, to my own satisfaction, archaeology has two jobs. One is to recover ancient technology. The other is to keep us from finding out about it. And I guess you could say a third mission statement as well, and that's to preserve the theory of Darwinian evolution, which will always be a theory. The theory being that one species, given enough time, can become a different species. That's Darwinian evolution in a nutshell. Darwinian evolutionary theory, I should say. Learning that our ancestors, that's a big part of this archaeology thing with the aliens, that chariots of the gods, for example, things like that, is a distraction to distract us from coming to know that it was our ancestors doing the high technology here on Earth, not alien beings. It was our ancestors. The evidence doesn't point to anything except our ancestors doing these things, such as splitting the atom 12,000 years ago, which there's plenty of evidence for that, by the way. Plenty of evidence that our ancestors, not aliens, had the ability to split the atom and make nuclear devices 12,000 years ago here on Earth. It all plays into one plays into the other. Preservation of Darwinian evolutionary theory, blocking us from knowing our true history as human beings. One of the titles of one of Immanuel Velikovsky's books is Mankind in Amnesia. That's the title of one of his three books, Mankind in Amnesia. Now, the secret societies, they are real. They do exist. The esoteric knowledge of our ancient ancestors is not necessarily all known, but they're diligently working on recovering it. The stories I've read, and they appear to be verifiable, truthful, is that when the U.S. Army and the U.S. Marines went into Baghdad, where did they go first? They went to the museum to steal what was in the basement of that museum there in Baghdad. What was it? Well, we don't know, do we? I can speculate on what it was. You can easily find references to something called Baghdad batteries, which many hundreds, if not thousands, of Baghdad batteries have been recovered by archaeologists. They're 2,000 plus years old. Stoneware jars with metal rods that when you put citric acid in them, like lemon juice, for example, you get electricity. Mainstream archaeologists claim that they were doing a primitive form of electroplating. That's why they had all these Baghdad batteries. So if you found a couple hundred of them, maybe, but not the numbers that they're finding. They seem to be everywhere. They were doing something else with electricity, not primitive form of electroplating. Far too many of them. We don't know. Maybe at least we don't know publicly what the Baghdad batteries are used for. I could speculate as well as anybody, but we simply don't know. Another interesting aspect of archaeology is the ancient Sanskrit writings being recovered in India. There's thousands of villages around India, which has more than 1 billion people, by the way, where the scientists, historians, archaeologists are recovering these ancient writings and preserved in these villages. About 4 to 5% of these writings have been translated into English, and that's optimistic, quite frankly. Many of these manuscripts appear to be documents that would be used by engineers, talking about the repair and maintenance of aircraft, for example. Just using one example. It's a fascinating area. I would like to see a lot more energy and time and manpower devoted to translating these manuscripts. I believe there's a wealth of knowledge waiting to be revealed in these manuscripts. Coming back to our country, War of 1812, General Jackson was charged with defending New Orleans, and he says in the book he wrote about that they incorporated the ancient canals into the defenses of New Orleans. Now, what does that mean, ancient canals? Well, they're there. In fact, a friend of mine was down there recently on a job, and he got to see them firsthand. These are clearly man-made canals, straight as an arrow, big enough for modern ocean-going ships to travel on. And they're prehistoric, which means they're at least pre-Caucasian. We're supposed to believe that the Native Americans had canoes that they traveled on the water with, and nothing else. Why would they have canals big enough for ocean-going ships? Clearly, obviously, they'd have no use for those, but they're there, and you can go down and see them today if you want to. Travel to New Orleans on the 19th day of December, 2017, and look at the man-made canals yourself that were incorporated into the defenses of New Orleans to protect New Orleans from the British in 1812. Fascinating, isn't it? One of my favorite archaeologists is Jonathan Gray, who lives in New Zealand. His book, Dead Men's Secrets, is the first of his books. He's written in quite a few books, but that's the first one I read. And on the first page of the first chapter, he talks about the Black Knight satellite. I was having lunch yesterday with a law enforcement official, and I mentioned the Black Knight satellite and asked him if he saw the Pepsi commercial that came out. It'll be 2 years ago next month, I believe, January of 2016 is when the Pepsi commercial came out. I'm calling it a commercial. It was a very slick production, Hollywood-level production about the Black Knight satellite, which gave widespread recognition to something that almost nobody knew about before that Pepsi video came out. Pepsi Cola, by the way, that's who sponsored it. They made it look like it was the beginning of the dawn of the age of Aquarius for us to be aware of this and to recognize it as a symbol to unite humanity and love and peace, which, quite frankly, is a bunch of silliness, I think. But they did it, and it shocked a lot of people who have been researching it for years, like myself and some other people I'm aware of, friends with. Turns out the Black Knight satellite is not the only satellite up there that we modern earthbound human beings did not put up there. There's many, many others. And I've confirmed this from several sources that don't know each other. Military intelligence, satellite industry, and so forth. As I was talking to the law enforcement official yesterday at lunch, I said to me, it's kind of funny they have these UFO conventions where people gather together at Sedona or someplace like that, and they exchange photographs of people's frisbees in their backyards claiming they're UFOs. I'm being a bit flippant here, I know. But the evidence is above our heads 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The evidence is the satellites that we didn't put up there. The story behind the Black Knight satellite is fascinating. It was the late 1950s. They being the U.S. government and other governments, had just set up optical and radar tracking stations to track the two brand new satellites, the Sputnik and our new satellite, our first satellite that went up. They never had any reason to have optical and radar tracking stations for things in space before that. Why would they do such a thing? but they did. So in the middle of the night, in the late 1950s, the officer on the 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift woke up his boss in the residence at the White House, his boss being a five-star general named Dwight David Eisenhower, brought him down to the Situation Room to inform him of what they'd found, the Black Knight satellite on a polar orbit. Now, the United States, Russia could not do a polar orbit until more than 10 years later. We could only do elliptical equatorial orbits prior to the late 1960s, maybe into the 70s. I'm not sure, but we definitely could not do a polar orbit in the late 1950s. It became a matter of national security, highest national security, to determine what this object was, and then eventually gain access to it. It's just below the Van Allen radiation belt, about 22,000 miles up. Its other nickname in the intelligence agencies is, quote unquote, the chirogenic box. Chirogenics is the use and study of absolute zero around, I know somebody will correct me here, around 460 degrees below zero Fahrenheit is absolute zero. It took me several years to find out the third dimension. I knew pretty quickly two of the three dimensions, 40 feet by 70 feet. The third dimension, I more recently learned, is 20 feet. That's a lot of cubic feet of space. That's huge. That's massive. Probably at least 2 levels inside there. I don't know the configuration inside the thing. My belief, and I have to admit I have no evidence to back this up, my belief is that the Apollo space missions was an excuse to spend the money to gain the technology, to get that high up, 22,000 miles up, to gain access to the technology inside that box, because that's what they really, really wanted. In 1958, 1959, our scientists recognized very quickly that whatever technology was in there was more than likely far in advance of anything that we had on Earth or could even dream of. So they went for it. I'm relatively sure that by the late 1960s, they probably gained access to the contents of that satellite up there. I don't know that for a fact. I've ran into stone walls attempting to backtrack and gain access to people who actually know this. I've gone as high as a U.S. senator who knew that they wanted to get in there, didn't know if they had. Senators usually have pretty high security clearance, by the way, in case you don't know. I've talked to people in the satellite industry and people connected to lettered agencies, and so far I've been blocked at every attempt to find out if they've actually gained access to the contents of the Black Knight satellite. My belief is that they probably did, given the extraordinary value of what they would find in there. I've also heard that many, if not all of these satellites have a protective mechanism built in, an electromagnetic field that the closer you get to it, the stronger the field gets, to the point where it could cause injury to human beings. Here's our break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 19th of December. My friend Professor McKinney, as most of you know, he's with me the first hour every Wednesday. He has determined that the huge rock structures. Not that they're all that big. They're right flat on the ground. The Nazca lines in Peru, that they're actually antennas. They're actually a type of antenna we were not aware of, that scientists, engineers, radio frequency engineers didn't discover until about 8 or 10 years ago, something along those lines. They're called fractal antennas. You can easily demonstrate this to yourself. Our cell phones 10 or 12 years ago, they had a little antenna on the side of it. Sometimes they would pop up, sometimes not, but it would be clearly a piece of equipment coming up from the top of the radio of the cell phone. They no longer have those because they now use fractal antennas. And Jim's working with the authorities down there in Peru to research further these Nazca lines. Fascinating area. Absolutely fascinating, which brings up a whole set of questions, by the way, of who built them, why they were built, who are they communicating with, and so forth. Yeah. It's something that is incredibly important on one hand. On the other, we will have to wait and let the scientists and the engineers and the archaeologists do their thing to determine the details of who built these, why they were built, who they were communicating with, and so forth. That desert in Peru, where the Nazca lines are, if it rains there at all, it doesn't rain very much. It's one of the driest places on the planet. It truly is one of the driest places on the planet. And it's something that I just find myself fascinated with, along with other aspects of archaeology. Who's hiding this information? The Google Earth information. Who's hiding it and why? What are they keeping from us? Steve Quayle's work about what happened during World War II and thereafter, I believe, is all connected to this. The Admiral Richard Byrd went down there. It was supposed to be a scientific expedition. You don't take state-of-the-art warships on a scientific expedition. Why would you spend the money to do that? You take cargo ships on a scientific expedition, not warships. They got their butt kicked down there. That's what happened. There's a possibility that all our history of the past 70 years has been a complete fabrication. Every bit of it. If what Steve Quayle prognosticates is true. Here's our top of the hour break. We'll be back with Leon Green. Stay tuned. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. J.R. Moore here, our second hour on Tuesday, the 19th of December. Prepper tip of the day. I encourage all of you to get your dental work all caught up. Seriously. I know you don't want to do it. I know that people are fearful and don't like to be in dental chairs on one hand, on the other. Suck it up, bite the bullet, so to speak, and make that appointment and get everything caught up and up to date, up to snuff. You'll be very glad you did. You really don't want to be going through a short-term or a long-term crisis with dental pain. That will just make everything far, far worse. So suck it up, get it done, and move on from there. That's your prepper tip of the day. We have patiently in the green room, my friend Leon Green. Leon is a gentleman who's taken the time, made the effort to become quite knowledgeable. And it's an ongoing quest. It's not something you just learn and move on. It's an ongoing quest to learn all the wonderful properties, nuances, helpful things that doTERRA essential oils do to people who incorporate the doTERRA essential oils into their everyday life. Good morning, Leon.
Morning, John. How are you doing, sir?
Really good. It seems like these weeks slip by more quickly each week, don't they?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, I'm just in the process. When you look at children and grandchildren, you see how fast they grow. It's like, wow. I've heard there's some wisdom from a woman saying, a mother who said, the days are long, but the years are short.
Well, there's some truth to that, isn't there? Well, we're wrapping up the year. Well, this will be our last show this year. We're not going to have a show Christmas Day or New Year's Day, I don't believe. So it'll be 2018 the next time we visit live on the air here, Leon.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. No, this is Tuesday. Never mind. I'm thinking about yesterday. We probably will. My engineer could probably let me know here. If he can give me a heads up. We probably will have a show the next 2 weeks, the day after Christmas and the day after New Year's. So we won't have a 2 week break from this show. We will from yesterday's show. Regardless, the new year will be here very quickly, and this is time here when people reflect on their life, where their life is, where their life has been in the past, and where they would like their life to go in the future, don't they, Leon?
Absolutely. The year somehow causes people to reflect differently, so I agree with you. Matter of fact,
well, go ahead.
As
a matter of fact.
Can you continue on with the show for maybe 1 minute? I'm just going to drop off. I have to swap out a bolt.
Do what you got to do.
Yep.
We'll wait for your return here, Leon. No sweat, GI. Yes. Well, the old year is wrapping up here, and okay, yeah. I just got a note from my engineer that the day after Christmas and the day after New Year's we should be live on the air, so we won't miss any opportunities to visit with Leon. But Leon and I have got to know each other pretty well over the years. I met him at one of Vince Finelli's expos. This has been about seven and a half years ago, something like that. I think it was the first expo that Leon did. That Vince did, that I met Leon. And he's representing doTERRA back then, and I became interested in doTERRA, and of course I've been a doTERRA dealer here for a number of years, and it's been a good relationship. Excellent products, good service. They have specials that they run. My wife, Dr. Moore, is the one who gets the product for us ordered every month, and we're incrementally building up an inventory of doTERRA products that we can use, my family can use, and there's no reason why my great-great-grandchildren couldn't be using them as well, because there's no expiration date on the essential oils. Essential oils were found in King Tut's tomb that were still viable and ready to go for use by human beings. How about that? A couple of 1,000+ years old from King Tut's tomb. Yeah, you just keep them away from high heat, exposure to sunlight. That's pretty simple. All you need to do to keep the essential oils viable and ready for use into the distant future. No reason why not. Yeah. Here's how you get started with doTERRA essential oils. First of all, get yourself 2 copies of the same book, the 5th edition and the 9th edition of the book titled Modern Essentials. The 5th edition is probably becoming more difficult to get. The 9th edition just was published in September. That's the first thing to do. Second thing, send me an email. My email address is right there at my website at thelibertyman.com. By return email, I will forward you my doTERRA website link. How about that? That's all you need to get started. We're going to call her and hold here. We got Dan in Missouri. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning, John. Good morning, Leon. Leon, come back yet?
I don't believe he's made it back yet. Go ahead.
Well, I've got something that goes right along with your prepper tip of the day that happened to me about 3 years ago. And essential oils. What happened was I had an infection at the root of one of my teeth, my rear teeth on top, and I ran through 2 complete bouts of antibiotic through the dentist prescribing them, and it was just killing me. And the infection was so bad that it had created what he called a pustule on the outside of my gum. It was like a pimple. and it was terribly painful. And I thought, I had lost a tooth about 2 years ago prior to that, and the same thing. They couldn't get the infection, and he said, well, we got to pull it. And now I'm dealing with a hole up there that I haven't done anything with, and I guess I'll live with that the rest of my life. But I thought, man, I don't want a hole on the other side. I'll lose my chewing ability back there. So I got me some gauze, and clean gauze, and rolled up a piece of it about the diameter of a cigarette, about an inch long, and I put 2 or 3 drops of oregano oil on it. And I shoved that up between my gum and my cheek, right at where that pustule was. And I put a new one in every morning and every evening. And you don't want to put more than 2 or 3 drops, or it'll just about choke you. You can't take that straight oregano. It's powerful stuff.
Right, it is.
John, in about 3 days, the pustule went down, the pain went away, there was no more swelling. I told my dentist about it, and he goes, oh, well, it'll be back. John, that's been 3 years. That tooth is just as sound as if nothing had ever happened. And I was amazed. And that's before I really keyed in. We had some oregano here, and I'm sure it's not as good as what doTERRA sells. We got it at the health food store, and I had it for years. And Nature's Answer was that brand, and I'm not plugging them. I'm just saying I know it's not as good as doTERRA because I've read all about it, and I've since got that kit from you. And I was just blown away that would take away that deep infection under that tooth. So I was wanting to know what Leon thought of that, and if he's heard any other stories.
He's back. So, Leon, let's jump right in there.
Yes. Oregano oil is a super antibiotic. There are only 2 oils that you can get that I buy probably quarterly, even though I have a huge stash of them, is oregano and cinnamon oil, because they cover all 4 pathogens: parasites, bacteria, viruses, and even fungus. So if you cover those, and so when people are sick, really infected, and we're talking about hospital bound, if in an emergency and you don't have access to all the pharmaceutical drugs, yes, those 2, you take them every half hour, either sublingually.
Now, when you say take them, do you mean ingest them?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can do it sublingually if you can handle it. You can put them in a gel cap, swallow them, or you can put them on with a fractionated coconut oil on the bottom of your feet. Do it that way.
I'll tell you, it takes a man to put oregano in his mouth. It takes a real man. That'll make tears run down both legs. It's horrible.
You're right. You're correct about how good oregano is in killing bacteria. And if you also had pain attached to that tooth, clove oil is phenomenal because it temporarily will deaden the nerves. They come back to life. We're talking about a half an hour to 2 hours. That's why doctors and dentists have used it for eons. They chew on cloves because it would deaden the pain before the surgery, and also whenever they're doing extraction. So you can talk to any dentist and ask them about oil of clove, and they know it because they were taught that, and even the modern doctors are taught about it, how effective it is. And it has the highest antioxidant of anything in the entire world. And cinnamon is next. So yes, clove, oregano are fantastic. That was a good call years ago.
I'll tell you that's something that I'll make sure I never run out of, because when you get an infection so deep that the 2 major antibiotics available won't touch it, and then oregano makes it go away in 2 or 3 days, you could have knocked me over with a feather. I wouldn't have believed it.
Yes,
it was just, I was so grateful I didn't lose the tooth, not to mention the pain.
Right, and also the cost, too. Think about it. People think, they only, even if it's subsidized, imagine this, it costs you $100, $300, depending on the magnitude of the surgery or your insurance. And so, if it costs you $500, how many bottles of clove and oregano could you stash for emergencies in the future and other issues? So, I mean, a bottle of oregano is like $28. It's very expensive. And what I was trying to describe earlier, and I didn't finish, was when you take oregano or cinnamon together, if you're sick, we're talking about every half hour while you're awake, you take it, a drop of each one of them. And so your body will metabolize and use everything it needs in that time frame, and then whatever is not used will be excreted. So that's why I've had friends. They, you know, I only did it twice. I'm like, if you're that you're going to the hospital and you're on IV, you've got to do it every 30 minutes.
Sure.
So within 4 hours, it is gone. That's how effective it is.
Well, I just thought I'd pass that on. It fit right in with John's prepper tip of the day and your oils. So
excellent.
That was my experience, and that's as truth as I know to say it.
Well, let me follow up here,
much,
gentlemen. Let me follow up before we get away, Dan. I put a drop of here's my usual protocols for brushing teeth. First, I floss. Then I use a toothpaste with no fluoride in it, of course. Then rinse with whatever mouthwash I'm using at the time with no fluoride. And last but not least, put 1 drop of oregano oil on my toothbrush and do a second brushing of my teeth. Now, that kills the plaque. You know, I didn't know until fairly recently, I say probably 10 or 12 years ago, the plaque is not just a buildup of stuff that sticks to your teeth. It's actually a living organism. And the oregano oil kills that living organism called plaque. So I go in twice a year, every 6 months, to get my teeth cleaned, and there's almost no plaque, almost none at all on my teeth at that 6-month cleaning. How about that?
I never thought of that. That's a good idea. All right, John. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Appreciate the call. You know, it's not common knowledge, Leon, that plaque is a living organism. I always thought it was just a buildup of sticky stuff that sticks to your teeth. I had no idea. Like I said, it was maybe 10 or 12 years ago that I learned that plaque is actually a living organism. And doTERRA essential oils, the oregano oil, will kill that plaque and eliminate it from your teeth. That's pretty neat, isn't it?
Absolutely, and it makes sense because more people have plaque on the bottom lower incisors because that's where the saliva ducts are, and it comes out, and so any bacteria and it feeds on the food, whatever. Even and after talking to my dentist recently, it's imperative that you brush your teeth after eating. Don't let the food sit there or candy and all the sweets, even French fries, because it's a carbohydrate will convert to sugar, and so your dental health is directly attached to your cardiovascular health, and that's been confirmed in the last 10, 15 years. And so people who have poor dental health, I always want to ask them. I mean, I was out here in Pahrump, and I asked, there's a woman and she looked horrid, and I wanted to ask her, do you have high blood pressure? I wanted to pursue that. I was at Walmart, she was the greeter, and I was just like, wow. So there is a direct correlation. So something as simple as oregano, like using the On Guard toothpaste, it has those 5 oils in there that kill bacteria. And so if I am not able to brush, like if I'm out on the line and I'm engaging in training, I will take a couple more drops of essential oils, like wild orange and oregano, to kill any bacteria in my mouth that I can't, do. I'm not going to do a finger swipe or finger toothbrush because, I have all the lead from the rounds and the handguns. So that's something that's easy to keep with you. The small bottles. I mean, even this morning when I dropped off the bolt a minute and a half ago, this man said, "I smell Leon." Because everybody out here at Frontside knows about me and about the oils. I drove to the gate and somebody said, "Can I get some of that deep brew? That stuff is awesome. I want to get your card and I want to buy some." So, it's you ask anybody out of Frontside, they will know about essential oils if they've been here longer than 6 months.
So you're at Frontside as we speak, Leon?
Yes, sir. I'm just about to do a class in about 35 minutes. I have to drop off my son. Actually, I let him sleep for an extra half an hour. And I have a little bit of light work, but I'm taking the advanced 2-day tactical with all 3 platforms: handgun, rifle, shotgun.
All right. Well, good for you. Well, that brings up a topic, and you've very generously been offering to my listeners, and this is just for John Moore's listeners, by the way, that if you buy certain kits from doTERRA, you get your choice of a rifle, a shotgun, or a pistol course at Frontside, which has quite a bit of value. What would be the dollar amount just to walk in off the street and get one of these courses, Leon?
Well, the retail value on it is $2,000 for the 4-day class.
Well, there you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. $2,000. Now that's quite a premium that's being offered here. It's not some flight of fancy. This is a real course at a world-class training facility with a retail value of $2,000. Tell people how they can take advantage of this, Lynn, if you would, please. And we got a break coming up here. We may not be able to. There's our break. We'll talk about the premium course after the break. Stay tuned, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. It's taken 3 years before I could offer the inter-shelter domes for sale. During those 3 years, several different governments and militaries were taking all their production. The inter-shelter dome homes may be just what you've been looking for to provide affordable, energy-efficient, permanent, and attractive housing. These dome homes are prefabricated units that can be assembled in a few hours by 2 men with a ladder and simple hand tools. Check out the photos of these dome homes built in the Arctic, on tropical beaches, in suburban areas, and in forests. All the details, many photographs, and the pricing of the dome homes are listed on the left-hand side of my homepage at thelibertyman.com. I think you'll find these homes are not only attractive, but they're energy efficient, and a bonus. You can disassemble them and reassemble them as many times as you feel you need to. Pretty great, huh? Something that's very, very unique. Check them out at my website at thelibertyman.com. Thank you. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 19th of December, visiting with Leon Green. We're talking about doTERRA essential oils and the special premium available to my listeners of the John Moore Show, that if you get a kit, you get a $2,000 class at front site. Let's tell people how they can do that, Leon.
Yes, sir. As long as they get a home essentials kit or above, they will receive the free 4-day handgun, shotgun, or rifle class. So for someone who's never heard of or never tried any of these platforms, you start as a basic person. It's not boot camp. Walk you through all the steps. And by the end of the 4th day, you're able to pull from concealed carry, from either covered by a jacket or sweater or whatever, and engage out 15 yards and further. And so a basic person can learn all these skills in that short amount of time. And, with 32 hours of actual training, you'd be surprised. And then they have another 3 hours additionally of slicing the pie and moving through their house, low light and things of that nature. So you don't expose yourself. So all this is taught at the basic class here. And then if you get the Natural Solutions kit and larger, you're going to get 2 versions of that. So you can take however you want to. You can have 2 different people taking the same class, or however you want to incorporate it. Plus, I'm going to give you 1 free gun rental. So that means, in that regard, you can if you don't have one of the platforms that you'd like to try, or try a totally different brand of firearm, you can do that as well. And they have them for rent out here. But I'm gonna throw that gun certificate in for free as a gift. So, excuse me, that's a Natural Solutions kit. That is $5.50. Plus shipping and handling, and the shipping is $3.99 if you do it SurePost. And it doesn't matter if it's the big one or the small one. And then it just depends on your tax. So, it's typically about maybe $5.75 total, regardless of anywhere in America. And then the Home Essentials kit is $275. And the same thing there, whatever the taxes on, at your local location. So it's a great way to, first of all, be prepared medically, and you can build your training. And starting this new year, Whitair has a new year, new you promotion, along with the if you get the oils. To get the oils before the end of the year, I will definitely, I also have some extra bonuses as well. So it's very simple.
Okay.
You can
all right.
Now. Yep.
Well, I need to get done before the end of the year. There's just a few days left, so people need to move quickly, don't they, Leon?
Absolutely.
All right. How much time you got left before you need to run? About 10, 15 minutes?
Yes, sir. I wanted to actually focus on whatever your biggest concern is right now, and then I was going to actually see if I can get back and grab Nathaniel and have him describe this as his second handgun class. So, he did the skill builder, so we're getting him to the level in which he can be top 90%, because that's required before you can actually move. And there were 32 people in the class with us. They do 2 relays. They had 5 coaches, and I was surprised the number of adults that came up and said to my son, "You're a very lucky boy." None of their parents had taken them out and got the training. So, and he was shooting better than, I would say, probably 50% of the people there, and he graduated, but he did not get distinguished graduate because we have to practice now on the malfunctions. And once he gets the malfunctions down, I believe in the next two classes, he can DG the class. And he'll probably be one of the youngest DGs and handguns here. Which should be
well, good thing you're not living in Los Angeles. They'd probably call that child abuse.
Yes.
or Massachusetts or Connecticut, or one of those crazy places. But out here where I live, it'd be called normal.
Precisely. And it also instills confidence. And since he's a homeschooler, Mom is actually allowing him to credit that for schooling, because he's being trained for 8.5 hours each one of those days of training of marksmanship, and they talk about respiratory pause, the squeeze, everything. So it is an advanced form of training and education. And then I'm going skiing, and that's going to be PE for the next 4 days. So,
all right.
Whenever I want to well-rounded, whether it's, we're going to take a couple wilderness courses as well. And
hold that thought, Liam. We have a break. Hold that thought. We have a break right now. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We're continuing our energy cleaner promotion, which began August of 2016. In this promotion, you get to buy an energy cleaner, $70 off retail, and a mattress pad, 10% off retail. $200 of the purchase price of the energy cleaner goes to Republic Broadcasting. This is a great way to help get energy cleaners out to people who need them and have some financial issues to deal with. And, of course, a great way to support Republic Broadcasting. Here's what you do. Send in a postcard. My address is John Moore, P.O. Box 201, Davidsville, Missouri. We pick a postcard every 2 weeks. If your postcard is drawn, you get the chance to buy the energy cleaner, $70 off retail, and 10% off the mattress pads. Put your name and your address, your telephone number, and your email address on the postcard, and we wish you the best of luck. Thank you. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 19th of December. My website is thelibertyman.com. That's thelibertyman.com. We're wrapping up an exciting year locating images of continents with new coastlines on movies and TV shows. It's a long list at my website at thelibertyman.com. Hiding in plain sight, predictive programming, all those things. If you got some discretionary time the next couple of weeks, a lot of people do, watching movies and TV shows, keep a sharp eye out for images of continents with new coastlines. If you find one, get that screen capture to me. As a thank you, you get your choice of any of my 5 DVDs. It's a fun project. We look forward to moving forward with that into the new year. Also, my website, of course, are energy cleaners, marvelous healing devices. Simple, they work. If you have issues with joint pain, arthritis pain, back pain, you'll most likely get relief. Not getting a great night's sleep, you'll probably get relief there as well. Only $285, shipping included to American zip codes. I do ship these every place except the Antarctic. We kind of joke about whether there's any in the Antarctic or not. Probably are a lot of bright men and women down there counting penguins and taking ice core samples and hiding stuff from us. The energy cleaner has a 30-day money-back guarantee. The mattress pads that go with the energy cleaner are very comfortable. They have a 5-year warranty on them as well. So check out the energy cleaner at my website at thelibertyman.com. Go ahead and make your purchase using MasterCard, Visa, PayPal. Great way to make a payment, by the way. Very safe way to make a payment using PayPal. Or you can send me a check. My address is at my website at thelibertyman.com. My toll-free hour line, 24 hours a day. Here it is, 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. Visiting with Leon Green, we're talking about doTERRA essential oils. Leon, what do you got now? About 10 minutes or so before you got to run?
Yes, sir. I'd say maybe, 10 minutes. So, yes, I'd like to focus on whatever you think is most prudent for the upcoming new year.
What coming to this new year, I think what's most important is for people to determine what's important, and separate needs from wants. You need health. You want cable TV. You need health. You know, and so separate needs from wants, and then sit down, work on that decision, determine if doTERRA essential oils will help you reach your needs and achieve your goals in the needs area as opposed to the wants area, and then move forward. Get those 2 books, 5th edition and 9th edition of Modern Essentials. The doTERRA website from me. Send me an email at my address at thelibertyman.com. My email address is there, and I will send you my doTERRA website link. And then you can move forward into the 2018 meeting and getting going on the needs that people have as opposed to the wants that people have. I think that's the most important thing people can do, Leon.
Yes, sir. I agree with you. And that's one of the biggest challenges. It's just like exercise. You know, logically, we know our bodies need to function properly in normal times, and even more importantly, in emergencies. But the couch, porn, and watching TV and being fault. It's more like the lust of the flesh. You know, people, and I'm guilty of it too. So I'm not preaching to the choir. My physical goals this year are to get training and do some Krav Maga with my son. Who say, well, I'm
Leon, did we lose you? Looks like we lost Leon. Yeah. He's disconnected apparently, and he'll be headed to his class here shortly anyway. Well, Leon, I want to thank you for being with us as always. Okay. If you have a question or comment about the essential oils, give us a call at 800-313-9443. Yes. Essential oils, human beings have been using them for thousands of years. We're celebrating the birth of our Lord Jesus here in a few days. The three wise men, what do they bring? Frankincense, which is the go-to oil. If you're not sure what will work, get the bottle of frankincense. It's the go-to oil. Myrrh, another excellent oil with hundreds of constituents in it. They're still finding out things that are in myrrh. And of course, gold. And I'm convinced that when the tablets were brought down with the Ten Commandments on it, and Moses was so upset that he broke up the golden figure and mixed it with water and had him drink it. I believe that what really happened was that he made monatomic gold out of that gold. Monatomic gold has very healing properties. So when the gold that was brought by the three wise men, it may have been monatomic gold. I don't know that. I've seen no evidence of it. It's a matter of speculation on my part. Looks like, Leon, are you back for a cameo appearance here?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
I was just speculating that the gold brought by the three wise men may have been monatomic gold, which has very heavy-duty healing properties to it. We don't know what kind of gold they brought doing.
Absolutely, but I agree with you. I've heard that as well, and people talk about monatomic silver. You know, it's much easier to get a hold of financially. So, yes, that would make sense. And many people discount the wisdom of the sages of old. They had a lot of technology, and a lot of it was lost at Alexandria and in the annals of time about how some of the wisdom was transferred to the conquering party, but other times it was just lost. And the victims did not pass on their wisdom because they're like, okay, if we're gonna sink the ship, you're gonna go down with it.
Right. Well, chances are the contents of the Library of Alexandria was captured by the Roman intelligence services and taken back to Rome, and later taken custody by the Roman Catholic Church as the Roman Empire was falling apart. That's my belief, because these people weren't stupid. They're not going to destroy the wisdom of the ages. They were not stupid people.
Yes.
Okay, well, that aside, the New Year is here in less than 2 weeks. It's time for people to be making decisions about how they're going to improve their lives, have the health and energy that they want, that they need. And I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, doTERRA essential oils will help you achieve those goals. You're going to have to make lifestyle changes, dietary changes, attitude changes, but the doTERRA oils will be there waiting for you when you're ready, won't they, Leon?
Yes, sir. And like Dan said earlier, he'd had it for 3 years, and that's all the oils, as long as they're cool, dark, and dry. And it's important that they are undiluted. Many companies will sell less expensive oils, but what they do is they have a good quality product first, but then they dilute it with sunflower oil, jojoba, or whatever oil, and then they say, "Oh, ours is cheaper." Well, you're right. If you're only getting 10% of the frankincense as compared to 100% frankincense, it will be considerably cheaper. So don't let marketing gimmicks sway you away just based on price. More importantly, doTERRA's oils are certified pure therapeutic grade. That means every batch and every liter is tested for pesticides, heavy metals, chemicals, insecticides, pathogens. And so there's over 15 tests that doTERRA does with 2 outside certified laboratories to verify it. There's not another company in the entire world in the essential oil industry that does that. And doTERRA does it because they realize how important it is. And for people who don't know about how the oils are distilled, and we'll make it a point in the new year to go into each one of the processes of how they're done. But they are 50 to 70 times more concentrated than the underlying herb. That means if you have a big lavender field in the middle of Utah, and it's right next to the Highway 15, all the asbestos and all the chemicals from the trucks that drive by it, they fall on those lavender leaves. They take those leaves in and they distill them. And what happens is now all of those chemicals have been distilled and concentrated 50 to 70 times. doTERRA takes the best oils in the world, and they get them where they grow naturally. And it's important that you get them where they grow naturally as compared to trying to grow frankincense in downtown Los Angeles. It does not inherently grow there, and some of these trees will go to 700 years old. So if you try to do something with the plant that's not normal, you're not going to get the best quality product. And another thing is you have to have the best species from the get-go. Many companies will just say, okay, this is just lavender. But there is one species of lavender that has the highest medicinal qualities. And that's crucial because it helps with sedation and relaxation, the best analgesic. And so doTERRA is taking all of these attributes into account before they choose a specific brand and a specific species of oil that they're pursuing because of how important it is. So all these things are crucial to know about, and that's why doTERRA is unique. So many people say, well, I can find it for $1.50 cheaper here. Well, you can't. And if it's diluted, those diluted oils will go rancid in 7 to 10 years. And so now if your goal is to have something that's the best quality and you decided to save $1.50 or 10% or 20% more, and it's no longer viable, then you just waste your time.
Yeah, what's the point?
And
what's the point? What are you really saving? You're not saving anything.
Correct. And then if it's something as crucial as oregano or cinnamon, and you're dealing with an infection 5 years from down the road into a major calamity, you have now shot yourself in the foot because instead of being beneficial, you now no longer have those benefits, and that is important.
It is.
So it could be like in this regard. Yep.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we're leading the people to the water. We can't necessarily make them drink, though, can we, Leon?
You're right about that. And one thing I wanted to do. One second.
Go ahead, Leon.
Yes, my son. What I just want to say is, my son is just taking the class. This is the second class. Nathaniel, he's a 12-year-old boy, and he took the class with 32 other adults. And I just wanted him to convey what Frontside is meant, both the adult classes and the children's class. So, here's Nathaniel.
Okay. Good morning, young man.
Well, Frontside's been a lot of fun. I learned a lot from it. Classes are great information, and it builds your confidence on shooting, and you get to learn about how the guns are made and how to use them in safety and all that.
Well, that's great. We're really happy for you there that you've been able to have those classes, and we do thank you for letting us know about them.
You're welcome.
All right. Leon, when you had your boy in St. Louis, all the women were just gushing over him and making over him. He was a rock star with the women, no doubt. Well, he's very fortunate to have a father that's is providing this training and information for him, and of course the oils to help him be healthy. And ladies and gentlemen, you can gain access to the same helpful oils that Leon and I both use and incorporate with our families, the doTERRA essential oils. Send me an email. By return email, I will send you my doTERRA website link. Get yourself a copy of the 2 copies of the same book, 5th edition, 9th edition of the book titled Modern Essentials. And you can be on the road to optimizing health and well-being with yourself and the people you care about. Right, Leon?
Yes, sir. They're very simple. You can find out an answer to a medical issue typically within 3 to 5 minutes, and they can also help you now, so you don't have to wait till, I'm not asking people to wait till emergency to use them. You can use them now,
and you can benefit. And so, and then you also have confidence in how effective they are, because, you know, the time to find out if your night vision works is not when you have incoming fire. You should train with it. You should have confidence, know all the benefits, and if there are any challenges, anything you have to tweak, if you have to change reticles, you have to change platforms. But see, I think a lot of people, you know, we buy special preppers, we buy the stuff in the box, we leave it in the box, and we know we don't use it. We're like, okay, we have the checklist, the 34 foods we must have. We check it off, and we're like, move to the next thing. But it's important that you know that if these MREs are going to give you constipation, then you need to have a lot more water, and you need to have things taken into account. And that's where digestion comes in. So all these things are crucial to know what works and what doesn't in advance.
They are. You don't want to be experimenting with this stuff after the EMP attack, do you, Leon?
You're right. And,
no.
Yes, sir.
It's like, yeah, so, and that goes for everything related to preparedness, whether it's water filters or communications equipment or firearms. You don't want to be trying to figure out how this stuff works, looking at the instruction manual when the lights go out. You want to know beforehand. So this is your heads up, ladies and gentlemen. The oils are in stock, ready for shipment. Everything's working. UPS, that big, beautiful brown truck, will drive up your driveway and drop off the oils. Point, click, and be there in 3 to 4 days at the most, right, Leon?
Absolutely. It's very efficient and effective shipping, and you can activity within 2.3 days. They will be anywhere in continental United States. The oils will be. And that's how efficient. There are just two warehouses nationwide, and so you can get them very quickly. So pretty much,
absolutely,
it's a no-brainer. You can benefit health-wise very quickly using the oils, and something like like Dan with his dental issue. Yes, you can find a relief very simply and very quickly with something as simple as clove and cinnamon and oregano.
Here's our last break. Leon, do you need to run to your class?
Yes, sir. I got to drop them off.
Okay.
I got to get out of bed.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Leon. We'll have you back next week. Appreciate it. Happy and Merry Christmas, by the way. Here's our last break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 19th day of December. Yes, and I guess I should say happy birthday to my daughter. Happy birthday, dear. Year's quickly wrapping up here. This is the time, especially between Christmas and New Year, people take off time from work, they take vacation time. It's the lowest level of alert, by the way, in all the military services and police agencies. Typically, people who are on duty are the least experienced, youngest people in all these agencies, police departments, military. Everybody who can figure out how to take off takes off, and the ones left behind are the least experienced. It's always a time that I'm very concerned about in terms of potential for ISIS attacks, terrorist attacks, and so forth. That aside, it's also a time to reflect on where you are with your life, where you've been, where you'd like to be. It's a time of reflection for many, many people. You always hear about New Year's resolutions, and most of which don't hold up very long, and some of which people carry forward with. But if you do resolve to improve your health, have more vitality, more energy, you really need to consider the doTERRA essential oils. There's other things. You heard us mention monatomic gold. I don't sell monatomic gold. It's easily found on Amazon. There's some very serious healing qualities to monatomic gold. One of the unique properties of it, if you take a teaspoon of monatomic gold out into bright sunlight and toss it up in the air, it explodes into light. Pretty amazing stuff. And it has definitely very heavy-duty healing properties to it. And so does the doTERRA essential oils. 3 wise men brought these things because they wanted baby Jesus to be healthy and vigorous and energetic. They weren't concerned about baby Jesus smelling nice with frankincense, no. They were concerned about baby Jesus being healthy. And that these oils and the gold, which may have been monatomic gold, by the way, we don't know. That's the properties that they had, was the healing properties of the myrrh and the frankincense. You can, you get my website that I send to you, you can order up the same frankincense and the same myrrh that the 3 wise men brought to baby Jesus and incorporate it into your own life and the lives of the people that you care about. Pretty much out of time here. We're going to have Professor McKinney tomorrow, all things being equal. Tom Berryhill Thursday. And then Dr. Myers Friday. Wrapping up the year here, wrapping up the countdown towards Christmas. And looking forward to a bright new year. To be on Republic Broadcasting, visiting with you folks every day of the week. It's become my full-time job. I'm no longer investigating murders. If I got a phone call to investigate a murder, it would be a challenge to not accept that assignment. I've never turned down a murder case, but it would be a challenge. In the meantime, get your medical supplies, your energy cleaner, your essential oils now while you can, your firearms and ammunition. Never, ever give up your guns. Have a fun, safe, productive day. And God bless America.